my fellow friends. Welcome to the program Careers Connect, a DPS Alumni Network presentation. My name is Neelam Bedi Son. I'm a human resource trainer by profession. I'm into industry from last more than 20 years, and I have my working presence in Delhi and Dubai. The current COVID-19 pandemic has rapidly affected our day-to-day life. Businesses disrupted the world trade and movements. However, the impact of pandemic and its consequences are felt differently depending on our status as individuals and as members of society. While some try to adapt the working online, homeschooling their children, and ordering food via Instacart, this virus has created significant knock-on effects on the daily life of citizens as well as about the global economy. The educational industry is also facing the same dilemma. Students at large are confined to homes, and online education is the need of the day. Classroom teaching has become a dream now as selective schools are functional with very less students attending the classes. Future seems to be uncertain for students as scores of career options are available, which are overwhelming but confusing. Here, the Careers Connector DPS Alumni Network helps students to make informed choice by facilitating the interaction with top-notch professionals over 500 careers. The aim of this talk show is to understand the education required for these careers, their step-to-step growth, their professional timelines, and the sacrifices and the struggles they made, and the net result of their career decision, even if made in different times, circumstances, and environment. Now I invite Mr. Rajiv Soni, the creator of this program, to say a few words.
Good evening, and thank you, Neelam ji. Thank you, Dr. Theraja, for coming across today. So, Careers Connect first started in 2014. Yes, that was good 7 years ago, when a premium school in Delhi, NCR, had invited me to come and speak on a host of careers. I found that both amusing and a little unfair also, because one person cannot talk on several careers. I could have probably spoken on chartered accountancy and education at the most, and probably hoteliering, but not more than that. So I connected with good 35 of my friends who were at the helm of their professions, and invited them all to come on a Saturday morning at 8 a.m., including four or five people from across the globe. There was one from Dubai, one from Czechoslovakia, one from the US, and one from Tokyo. And they all came in at the same time, of course, on the internet. And 600 students of that school in 11th and 12th met in different classrooms in say, groups of 20, 25 for all these professions. Today, the internet has, of course, changed everything else, and Zoom and a lot of other platforms have enabled and have facilitated this. So this is where we are today. And with these few words, I hand the mic back to Neelamji. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Rajiv. Today we have with us Dr. Arun Theraja, a dynamic, enthusiastic, and a handsome personality who kept his eyes on the stars and his feet on the ground. He strongly believes great things are done by a series of small things brought together. Some people want it to happen, some wish it would happen, but he's the one who made it happen. A Dipside 1979 batch who made us really proud. He got admission in MBBS through the entrance exam in Delhi, UCMS, Safdarjung Hospital, and in CMC Ludhiana, but chose Delhi for obvious reasons, passed out in 1984. He also won a gold medal in his thesis work for his commendable performance. Dr. Arun did 1 year of house job in Safdarjung Hospital, sat in the PG entrance exam and got DLO, Diploma in Laryng Otorhinology, in the ear, nose, throat in Delhi again, from Lady Hardinge Medical College and Associated Hospitals in 1989. He took the PG entrance exam again and luckily managed MS, Masters of Surgery, in ENT in the same college and hospitals. LHMC completed the 3 years course and joined the government service for the next 3 years. A popular and well-known ENT specialist in Pachim Bihar, Delhi, he has over 37 years of experience as an ENT specialist. He is a qualified MBBS, MS, ENT diploma in otorhino laryngology, DLO. He strongly believes in healthcare that is based on personal commitment to meet patients' needs with compassion and care. In 1995, he started his own clinic and joined Mata Chanan Devi Hospital, Janakpuri, as a consultant where Dr. Arun worked for almost 10 years. Since 2005, he heads the ENT department of Maharaja Agrasen Hospital, Punjabi Bagh, as a senior consultant. He is a member of AOI, Association of Otolaryngologists of India, DMC, Delhi Medical Council, MCI Medical Council of India, IMA, India Medical Association, Outer West Branch. Areas of expertise is a micro ear and micro laryngeal surgeries involving the voice box, functional and cosmetic surgeries of nose and all oral cavity surgeries, including cancers. His passion lies in motorcycling, which is very strange. He started riding in 1985, and over all these years, 35 years to be precise, he has toured extensively both nationally and internationally. And in 1998, he formed the biggest superbike group of the country, which is called G.O.D.S, G-O.D.S, group of Delhi superbikers, which now has more than 125 members, owning some of the best machines in the world. He personally has a collection of 16 super bikes in 600cc and above, and with God's grace, it's increasing day by day. Let's welcome, who never wasted his life drawing lines, but lived and led his life crossing them. Let's welcome Dr. Arun Theraja. Welcome, sir, on board.
Thank you so much, Neelam ji and Ashish ji, for a rousing reception, I would say. Thanks a ton for your kind words. And it's a pleasure interacting with you all here, and especially this Careers Connect. And I understand the dilemma faced by the students at that juncture where we were ages ago. And sometimes we were clear and sometimes we were not. So thanks to you, people get to know some insights of all the carriers. That's a very great thing which you are doing. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arun, for coming and allocating your precious time to this program.
After a gap of every 2-3 years I used to go. It was an addiction to go there again and again. So अब हम फिर जा रहे हैं after 10 days, so that would be my personal 10th trip. And उसके बाद सच पास किया 2 बार. We did such pass, and then Spiti Valley we have done around 5 times. And Europe, the French Riviera, Italy, Switzerland on bikes, and Russia last year. And now we are going to New Zealand in November. So that international circuit.
I start the program with you. How did you get into this line of ENT and medicine after you left school in 1979?
So I was pretty clear that I was not meant for mathematics and physics, though I scored pretty well, but somehow I was not, from inside, I was not prepared. I was always inclined towards biology. So obviously then medicine was my future kind of a path. So that's how I worked on to that. So I was crystal clear that not CA also, chartered accountancy, nothing to do with physics or maths, no calculations in my life. It has to be biology or something. So that's how I was clear. So that's how I graduated towards that stream. And then, as you said, so entrance exam was a must to get into MBBS, which still is. So that's how this whole thing started, with the entrance exam for MBBS.
Could you tell us and share us your ENT story, how you got into it and why you got into it?
So once I got selected here in Delhi in MBBS. So during that course of those 5 years, so one develops an inclination to one particular subjects out of 23. I still remember 23 was the number where we used to study that subject. So, and third year onwards, you are posted in every department for a couple of days, 2 weeks. So when I went into ENT, so somehow I fell in love with that. And that day I decided, yes, it was pretty crystal clear that I wanted to pursue ear, nose, throat as my post-graduation in my post-graduation career. So not everybody feels like that because sometimes it's very confusing. You like multiple subjects. So that is a dilemma. That is a dilemma. But in my case, it was crystal clear that once I am through with MBBS, I'll sit in the exam, PG entrance exam, and I'll go for ENT. So I developed the liking for that. I saw the surgeries, and in fact, the seniors there in Safdarjung were so helpful. They gave me a free hand even while I was in final year to do a small bit, not major surgeries, but the very minor kind of surgical procedures, OPD procedures, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes duration. So I got the hang of it and I was pretty happy with my own self. Yes, I can do surgeries on ear, nose and throat. So that's how the love for ENT started. And that's how I pursued it.
Very nice. And could you tell our young students, how was the struggle? Was it so difficult? Very competitive? How was it?
Yeah, it is very competitive. So obviously it is very difficult for a couple of hundreds of seats starting from MBBS. Lakhs are sitting down and taking the exam. So it's a very competitive thing and only a few handful make it. Correct. So, but that shouldn't be a deterrent because if you want to get into medicine, this is the only way. Roadblocks would be there. Many people, even including my batchmates, they couldn't make it in the first attempt. So first attempt MBBS, but they came in second. And I know many of the people who came in third attempt. So they were just whiling away the time. Okay. Maybe they joined some other Delhi University courses and that's how they spend those 2 years or 1 year extra in preparing again for the exam. So that is one major obstacle, that it's not a surety that even the brightest kid coming out of the school will make it into the entrance exam in first go. Yeah. That's no guarantee. True. That's no guarantee, but that shouldn't be a deterrent. If you love your line or specialty, you work for it. So I would personally say, and that the same thing applies after you finish MBBS and you sit for the entrance postgraduate. Same roadblocks, same no guarantees that you'll make it in the first attempt. So that's why an average time once you get into MBBS, or I would like to rephrase that, once you leave the school and you come out as a postgraduate doctor, one should be prepared to spend 10 years. Roughly 10 years. That's a big amount. So in that time, you will see your other batchmates in maybe finance or banking or chartered accountancy doing so well. So that again shouldn't put you off because you love your subject. So by the time generally a doctor settles down, it's generally he's around 30. So by 30, I mean, if you do some kind of a 2-3 years of government service after your post-graduation, so you are already 26, 27, so you're inching towards 30. And then also after the post-graduation, people are not waiting for you with open arms in every hospital. They come, beta, the space is vacant for you. It's nothing like that. So you have to go through that. Lot of things, and very few people are having their running nursing homes already run by their parents and all, where they just go and sit and start. That's very few. So other option is, especially I've seen outside the big metropolises, people just do MBBS and they start practicing. So that cuts the time by half. They are not super specialized, they are general practitioners. And they are having a great time. But that is applicable to small towns, not big metropolises. You have private practitioners here also, but they are like very old, settled for practicing for 60, 70 years. Just plain MBBS. So that doesn't work any longer. Super specialization is needed. So be prepared for a very long haul. The innings is very long, but at the end, the rewards are amazing. When you cure a patient, you get somebody back from the brink of death and he praises you. कि आप तो भगवान हैं types, and you have
Oh,
saved my life. That feeling, and even the otherwise what results you give. For example, in my case, when you rectify a crooked nose, cosmetic surgery, it's a
correct.
crooked nose, and you straighten it. The end results are phenomenal. Small things. I mean, patching of the eardrum perforation, improving somebody's hearing with
Wow.
the latest techniques of cochlear implants or simple
Wow.
surgeries. Those
Wow.
rewards, like then you forget the time spent in achieving your degrees.
True.
So
True.
obstacles, the main obstacle is this only. You take a lot of time to settle down vis-a-vis some other professions where you quickly settle down with by 25, 26 easily. So that again shouldn't be a deterrent for you. Be positive. And if you love your subject, you'll make it happen. Success will
True.
come
True.
to you. So
True.
similarly, the same thing happened to me. I mean, the first attempt in my PG entrance, I couldn't manage the MS, the degree, Masters of Surgery. I got a DLO. But again, I was happy that at least out of so many lakhs of people,
You could
I
do it.
got the
Yeah.
diploma of my subject, in my subject,
True. True.
ENT. I didn't have to compromise on the subject. So
True.
I learned again in those 1.5 years of diploma again, it's the same thing. You operate also, you work in the same government hospitals. And luckily, when I sat again during my diploma, I managed a good score and I got again in Delhi, the Master of Surgery. So you have to just go at it, get at it, be focused. You want to do it, so do it. So this is the only, I would say, is the only flaw. The time consumed by settling down, you are like 30 plus.
True.
So
True.
that's the only flaw.
And it's a continuous struggle,
Yeah,
continuous
it's a
struggle.
struggle.
Keep learning,
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
upgrading throughout your life,
true,
I think.
true.
Yeah.
It's a learning curve which you really enjoy. You enjoy that learning curve.
Yes, true. Okay, this branch of medicine is concerned with functions related to head and neck, such as speaking, hearing, maintaining balance, breathing, smelling, and swallowing. Breathing and smelling are two areas directly affected by the coronavirus. Have there been any patients coming to you as a result of this complaint in these 2 years?
Yeah, pretty. I mean, I keep seeing corona. I mean, though they present to me with, let's say, the nasal allergies, there is cough and cold and a little bit of throat pain and a low-grade fever going up to 100 or maybe 101. So
Hmm.
normally we see these viral fevers happening every year. But this time, I mean, I would say when I send them for testing of corona,
Hmm.
50-60% of those people turned out to be positive.
Hmm.
So because this is the airway involvement, whether it's nose or the
True.
posterior part of your throat or the chest is the commonest with corona. So I
True.
keep seeing those patients, no doubt about that. And
Hmm.
sadly now the second wave is coming. So I'm
Yeah,
again seeing the same kind
it's
of
scary.
symptoms happening.
Yeah.
Though the good thing is in majority of the people, it just comes and goes like a viral fever.
Hmm.
It is just the risk of distributing it to the other people around you. And those people might not be having a great immunity. For example, your elderly patients. You
True.
might
True.
handle the corona easily, but they
Hmm.
might not because
Hmm.
of the age and other comorbidities like diabetes and
True.
blood pressure.
True.
So I keep seeing that the upper airway involvement, chest involvement. So many a times I keep seeing coronaviruses.
Could you tell us your favorite memory as an ENT specialist?
There's so many of them because like we just said, it's a learning curve, the kind of stupid mistakes you made and the way your seniors rectified you. I mean, you feel so pleased once you learn something from them and then you apply on the patient and the end result. So there are so many good memories. But the recent one I would say is one of the most rarest cases in the world reported. Ours was the only second one around 5 years ago. A young lady, a young girl, I would say in 22, 23 years old, she presented with a severe bleeding from the mouth.
Oh,
So bleeding from the mouth, a young with no history of any injury, no history of any trauma.
oh.
And her blood pressure was obviously following because she was losing blood very fast. So we did the examination. Yes, there was some oozing coming out, but we couldn't make out what the hell it was. So ultimately, when we stabilized with the packing of her throat with the gauze and cotton, we tried to temporarily stop the bleeding. And uh, then the diagnosis was really crazy. We had never heard, because just to explain in a layman's kind of a thing, there are two big vessels, blood vessels going by the sides of the neck, the
Oh.
right side and the left side. They are known as the carotid arteries. They are one of the major arteries from coming out from the heart. They supply the head and neck and go into the brain. Some branches go into the brain and some branches remain here only and supply your neck and face. So the ultimate diagnosis came out that one branch which never had any branches in the neck, which was going straight into the skull, it had somehow ruptured into her mouth. It was such a rare condition with no explanation. It is known as the internal carotid artery. It doesn't supply your neck and face. It goes straight like this. But somehow, I don't know what the freak incident happened. It ruptured in her mouth, and it is a very fatal disease because the volume of blood losing is immense. And the blood pressure comes down, you go in a state of shock, and within minutes, you are dead. So we rushed her to the OT. Obviously, it was a teamwork. ENT, we were there. There was the intervention radiologist because he was trying to seal the leaking artery from inside. You must have heard of the word stents. You put the stents in the arteries. So stents, the balloons were put so that to increase the pressure inside to stop the bleeding. And then the cardiologist was also there, intervention to take care of the falling heart rate and everything. So after almost there was hardly any pulse on the table, and we were sure we would be that really it would be a miracle to save that young girl with such a rare condition. But ultimately, after 4 hours or so, she became slightly stable. The BP came up from 0 to 60, and then within a few days, she was walking. So that was one of the rarest case ever reported in the journals of ENT, and we just came across that. So that memory is unforgettable. Stay with me. I'm alive because I've never seen such a rare case happening. Because normally people who have cancers of the head and neck, they can get such complications, rupture of the big vessels in the neck. But a young girl with no morbidity, she walks in with just bleeding from the oral cavity.
Oh my God.
So this is one of very recent memories which I have, which really, I still get goosebumps, what happened in the middle of the night and how we saved it. And then before that, like you had mentioned, the thesis and all, I had taken out so many amazing and some crazy foreign objects or foreign bodies from the food pipe and the windpipe of children. I mean, coins are the commonest.
That's
25,
normal,
50 paise ka sikka, they keep inhaling.
they keep
khage.
eating and they eat.
The peanuts hote hain, especially in winters, they inhale in the chest. So there's a medical emergency because you can't breathe. So there's so many other things, shoelaces, jewelry items, all these things from the windpipe and especially the food pipe, foreign bodies in the food pipe. I have such crazy amount of photographs of what I've taken out from these little children who accidentally keep ingesting or inhaling foreign objects. So that we do through the telescopes and all. So those memories are also very, very emotional and very interesting because you have saved a young kid's life like that.
That speaks volume about your performance and your capability. I would say that, Dr. Arun.
You learn along the way. That's why it's all learning curve and those the training they give you in those degrees, plus the government job after that, and especially in a big hospital like Saptajang or a Lady Harding with 2 associated hospitals, you see every kind of a case. Every kind of a case. So we have as you know, huge population. So accordingly, so many different diseases. So you learn a lot along the way.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, Dr. Arun, how does your typical day, look like? And how do you, balance your professional and personal life?
It's actually easy. I mean, where there's a will, there's always a way. So obviously we have some, thankfully my specialty is not that kind of an emergency specialty where I have to get up and run in the night. For example, a gynecologist and all, you can't control the time of the baby's deliveries and all that. They are running in the middle of the night, early morning. Similarly with orthopedics, there are accidents happening. So an ortho surgeon has to go whenever the trauma case is there. So fortunately, ear, nose, throat, and similarly, I would say eye surgeons, it's a planned kind of a surgery. We have a routine OPD. My day starts at 9 and I see with the OPD in the hospital. And then if the surgeries are planned, I always make it a point to start at 8 a.m. so that I'm through by 10 o'clock.
Oh,
So
perfect.
early morning surgeries, I prefer early morning surgeries. So hospital starts at 8, so I operate at 8. Whether it happens once a week or twice a week, that's the normal frequency of surgeries we do. So otherwise, the OPDs go on for the initial 3 to 4 hours, and then I come home for a lunch break. So I have those 2 hours to relax, and then I go back to my private clinic in the evening, and then I see patients for 2.5 hours or so, and
Oh,
that's
wow.
it. And by 8:30, I am free. So
Wow.
in between, I manage 2 hours in the afternoon as a lunch break, and that's I would say, a comfortable kind of a thing. So that's how I manage the personal life also. And just because it is not an emergency kind of a specialty which I'm dealing with. Otherwise, I would have been in a fix, a bad fix. So no time, no time. I have to run at 10 a.m., 10 p.m., 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Ye ho gaya, wo ho gaya. So
Yeah,
thankfully, ear,
so
nose, throat, even the surgeries are planned. Very rarely you get emergencies in my specialty. All planned surgeries.
no erratism, no erratism.
Yeah.
Okay, how lucrative is this profession?
Uh, Obviously, as not as lucrative as, let's say, like I gave you the example of kids starting at 25 and all with some very good packages and all. It's nothing like that. It takes a lot of time and effort to reach to that stage where you make good money with your ethics intact.
True.
That is the main thing. You can make a lot of money with being unethical, but that is not the way it should be done. Because it is such a noble profession, it has to be treated in that way so that people respect you. Money should always be secondary. Primary should be guiding the people in the right direction.
True.
Not everybody, for example, not everybody in my field has a deviated nose या अंदर से जिसको कहते हैं नाक की हड्डी टेढ़ी, which is a commonly abused kind of a diagnosis, which everybody you can advise a surgery. So that is a wrong kind of a thing. Just to quote you an example. So do genuine surgeries, do good OPD. The reputation should speak for itself. Money will follow, but obviously it takes time to follow. So it becomes lucrative. Let's say if you're started at, let's say, private practice in the year when you're 30, 31 years old. So forget about the next 5, 6 years. So it takes time to build reputation and then the money comes in.
True.
And obviously specialties which have more of emergencies, you earn more. Planned elective surgeries, you don't earn that much unless you are super specialist. For example, in my field, there are people who only do that. I was mentioning that cochlear implants. This is for a layman. This is just, let's say, putting a hearing aid inside the ear. It's hardly visible outside, just to give you a layman example. So people are doing only that. They have mastered that. So they earn quite well. You have super specialized. Similarly, there are head and neck cancer surgeons who do only that kind of a surgery. So they make good amount of money.
Good.
But for, let's say, a routine ear, nose, and throat specialist, it takes time. The routine surgeries are always planned. If you suggest a surgery, people will still window shop. They will go here and there to take second, third opinion.
True.
And then because there is no as such emergency, let's say if you want to get a nasal surgery done, there is no emergency. So they will take the sweet time to decide. Maybe after consultation, they'll come back to you after 3 months, maybe 4 months. So it's like that. There is no emergency. And in our country, because everything is available over the counter, so even coming to ENT and eye, first they will call the chemist. कि भाई जुकाम हो गया कुछ फोन पे बता देगा. So that kind of attitude. So पहले chemist से try कर लिया, नहीं हुआ तो फिर doctor के पास जा. So this makes that lucrative part not that great. So it takes time to achieve that. To coming back to your answer, so it will become. But in the process, don't ever lose your ethics. That's all what I say.
That's a perfect answer, I would say. Okay, given the way technology is racing ahead and with AI and virtual reality, what changes do you foresee in your line?
My line, the biggest, I think, the change over the past couple of years, I would say, time has more than 20 years now, but in vogue or in fashion, the endoscopic surgery. There are telescopes or what they call a minimally invasive. You don't cut up the patient, you don't open up the patient, and you just make a small hole. In our case, the holes are already there. I mean, the nose or the nostrils are there, the mouth is there, the ear is there. So we don't have to do that. The God has given the holes in ENT. So we go through them without cutting open anything, and we insert the telescopes. There's a camera attached to that, and you can see either directly also or through the camera onto the screen, and you keep operating with both your hands. So that is the advancement which has really helped us in doing so many things, mainly inside the nose and in some tumors or the growths inside the front of the brain. So people straight away go through the nose and reach inside the brain and remove the tumor. So that is a big advancement. Similarly, you have the skull base of the skull surgeries. Again, you go through the nose. And here I would say still mainly dependent on the microscope, not the telescope, but oral cavities also. There are so many surgeries where you use the telescope. So the recovery is good of the patient because you have not opened him up. There is no skin incision anywhere. And you go through inside. And secondly, you see it in a very big magnifying way. So you do your job pretty well. In the telescopes, the lenses are there. So you see the field very clearly and in a magnified way. So endoscopes are the biggest revolution in ENT. And then these days, again, a couple of years, like I said, the word cochlear implant. People who have impaired hearing, there are many children, it's congenital problem. They are born without the hearing. So what to do? They can, if they can't hear, they cannot talk because there is no speech. They don't hear anything, so they won't learn anything. So for the past couple of years, you have an apparatus or a device known as cochlear implant. In a very layman kind of a thing, it's a hearing aid only, but a very specialized hearing aid, which you go inside, you operate, you go back behind the ear, and you implant it inside the inner ear. The main, you excite the nerves of the ear, which are damaged at birth. So you are bypassing the external ear and you're going straight away into the internal ear.
Wow.
So that is another big advancement of people on children who are congenitally deaf, and in adults also who had the speech and hearing, but somehow due to some diseases, some side effects of medication or some head injuries, some trauma, they have lost their hearing power. So hearing aids, very powerful hearing aids is one option in them, but generally they don't work if the hearing is totally gone. Again, cochlear implants are beneficial to them. And the third, I would say, is lasers in ENT. Lasers, as you know, the lasers, carbon dioxide laser, argon laser, YAG lasers. So lot of ENT surgery. Again, the commonest are the oral cavity. You have early cancers of the tongue, cheek, buccal mucosa, voice box. You focus through the lasers and you remove very precisely what you want. And similarly, in nose, a couple of diseases like polyps and all, you do lasers. Ear surgery is again one or two where you use the laser. So by and large, three things: endoscopes, number one, lasers, number two, and the third is the cochlear implant. These are the three main, and obviously the skill matters. This is a new thing, not any longer, but still you have classes happening, you have courses, the masters and the people who are doing this, they conduct their courses, you attend their workshops, you learn these new techniques. So artificial, or I would say, you mentioned that. So that is at a very early and nascent stage, the robotic surgery here in ENT. There's only one condition in which we call it TORS, TORS or transoral, through the mouth route only, you do robotic surgery, TORS. So again, a very limited kind of a thing. You would have heard that people snore a lot, snoring.
Correct.
That is because of some malfunction of muscles in the oral cavity. You have sleep apnea, people who have disturbed sleep. They get up in the middle of the night, कि मेरा दम ही घुट गया, I am about to die. That is known as sleep apnea. So some patients benefit a lot by that surgery. That is done without the robot also, but now many centers, not in India, but outside, they are using robots to precisely cut some part of that skin or whatever palate they want to do. So that is the latest one joining in the bandwagon, the robotic surgery. But ENT right now, it's very limited.
Lovely.
These are the latest advances in a layman kind of a term.
Okay. If the clock turns back, would you like to be again a ENT specialist?
No, I wouldn't be. So no, ENT, or I would say medicine, no, I won't be. And because I have already done this, I have seen this whole path and I'm pretty happy and comfortable with that. So why repeat it? So let's see something new. Let's do something new. So as you just mentioned in the earlier stages, my other passion in life is motorcycling.
I was just going
So
to ask
if
you
given
that.
a chance, yeah, if given a chance to do, like wind the clock back to do whatever I would like to do in next janam or some other chance, I would make my passion into profession. That would be my goal. Somewhere something attached with motorcycle. And I would, and that also specifically maybe in some designing aspect to make some amazing motorcycle, to do something with the mechanical part of that.
Wow.
So design a motorcycle or to become one of the world's best tuners in the world, to
Wow.
tune a motorcycle, whether it is for racing or any kind of a thing, to create land speed records on a motorcycle. So that kind of a thing, I would love to do that if given a chance again. Yeah.
I think any young girl, if she hears it, she's going to say, "Oh, this is my kind of a man." You tell us about your gods. Your journey of bike, please.
Yeah, that also was just started the moment I finished my MBBS 1984. I did an house job I was doing in 85, and suddenly this Indian company got in a very amazing motorcycle known as the RD 350 Yamaha. So it was at that time, it was far ahead of its time. A very potent machine, very expensive at that time, but officially available in India. So I went after my parents, I've become a doctor. So, and they were like hell bent, no way. I mean, we can buy you a second-hand Fiat four-wheeler, you'll be safer on that, but not on two-wheeler. It's risky. Though the population was pretty less in that time, but still two-wheeler or two-wheeler. But somehow I was adamant, so got my first machine. And the moment I sat on that, I said, okay, God made me for this. I was meant for motorcycling.
Wow.
This is why I was here. It was such an instantaneous connect. Instantaneous. Okay, wow, this is my life. So that's how the journey began. And within 2-3 years, I managed to pick up some imported machines. Generally, West Bengal registered. Bombay became a hub later on, but West Bengal was the thing. So they were big machines. I mean, 600 cc's and all that. So the journeys, then these are known as super bikes. They are very powerful and very beautiful to look at. So a lot of them came from 1985 till now, I would say. And then I used to ride alone because hardly anyone in the city had such amazing machines at that time. So I was doing solo rides, seeing the country and all that. In 1998, I came to know there's another gentleman in Chandni Chowk who has this kind of a motorcycle, a big bike. So I called him somehow. I managed his landline number. Mobiles they had just started in 95. So we got together and that's how we started riding together. And then on one Sunday morning, I said, his name is Rajiv Mohammed. Menka Rajiv Bhai, this is the name I've thought. G.O.D.S. Bhagwan, which means Group of Daily Super Bikers. And he said, wow, man, wow, this you registered the name. Let's keep this name and let's start. And that's how the group started. And now we are 125 in number, all mature, good people. There are 2-3 other doctors also, accountants and ex-military colonels and pilots. And we do lots and lots of riding. I just came back from Sikkim a week ago. We were riding in Sikkim for 7 days. And then before the pandemic hit us, we were in New Zealand in November 2019. We do a lot of international riding also since the past 8 years. So it's been a very long and lovely journey, 35 years now with motorcycles. So that's how biking and G.O.D.S started.
Okay, one quick last question. What would you like to advise to the students and their parents regarding this profession?
Yeah, I would just say, like I was clear cut in my case. I was very clear after school what I wanted to do. Many people are not. But then ultimately after school, you have to make up your mind which stream you want to. I mean, arts, engineering, or medicine. So if you decide, yes, medicine is the thing for you, then be prepared, like again, repeating myself, for a long haul. Be prepared for that. You might be lucky, many people are lucky at first attempt, first go, they get into the entrance exam. So that will save you at least 2 years. At least 2 years are saved. So 5 years of MBBS, then again 3 years of post-graduation. So 8 years in a row, if you are very lucky. If not, minimum 10 years. So be prepared for that. Even the parents, there's no point giving sarcastic comments, ke is saal tu phir nahi aaya types, no point. Let child find its own way. If he loves the subject, there is no point stopping him or her. Let her take 1 year, let her take 2 years, even 3.
Dr. Arun.
So like I said, for the applicable to the kids and parents also, that be prepared for the long haul. 8 to 10 is the years, 8 to 10 years is the minimum time taken to become a postgraduate. And then after that, you straight away don't start earning money. You don't straight away get a good attachment in a hospital. So all these factors you have to think about. And so it's a 10 years minimum kind of a settling down period.
Okay.
So be prepared for that. That's the only drawback this profession has. So don't discourage your child, even if he or she takes 2 attempts to enter the MBBS or 2 attempts to enter into the PG of the subject of her choice. Let her or let him do that. And don't get bothered about even if the child has to be displaced outside his hometown. Now you have an all India kind of an entrance exam. So it's not a must that your kid will get in Delhi city or in the hometown.
True.
So let that thinking also go. It's just a matter of 3 years and they will go like that. So that's the advice. Take it easy. And in the end, the results should be so good once you see your child doing so well and enjoying the profession. That's the main thing. One should enjoy the profession. You get up every day in the morning and you look forward to it. That should be the feeling. That's the main thing I would like to give the advice. So go at it and be prepared for a long haul. And in the end, you will be a very satisfied person.
Lovely.
Because you'll be pursuing your own dreams, which you dreamt that I would one day become an ENT surgeon or a gynecologist or whatever. So follow that and you will be there for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This comes to the end of the program. Thank you so much, Dr. Arun, for coming and giving your valuable time.
It was a pleasure.
Not only time, your valuable information to our children, you know.
Thank you
Now,
so
a
much.
little appreciation package for you. The adventure of life is to learn. For you, the adventure of life is to learn. The purpose of life is to grow. The nature of life is to change. The challenge of life is to overcome. The essence of life is to care. The opportunity of life is to serve. The secret of life is to dare. The spice of life is to be a friend. The beauty of life is to give. Believe in yourself. Take on your challenges. Dig deep within yourself to conquer fears. Not let anyone bring you down. You've got to keep going. Impossible is just an opinion. All dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Pleasure was all mine
And
for interacting with you all.
Yeah, thank you. And over to Rajiv if he has any questions, please.
No, I think it was a fantastic talk show, and
Thanks,
what
sir.
I
Thank
really
you so
liked.
much.
No, Arun, if I may please call you that, Doc.
Sure.
What I really liked was, your very forthcoming exposition of how you have come into this line, how you have managed, your work as well as, your personal life. It's a fantastic way which I think a lot of young students will try and emulate a balance, the way you've explained.
I keep straining on not losing your ethics along the way. That is the most important point. Most important point these days. Most important.
I think that's a very important point, and it's very well put, sir. And I think it's very well taken.
And we need to learn all this.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Rajiv. Thank you once again, Doctor.
Bye.
And this is Neelam signing off. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, my viewers. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.